Cabin for you.
The cabin was a show. The London that I thought I knew, he wasn't at that cabin. I don't know who that was. The bond and energy that we have when we're not around everyone, I didn't see that.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You already know what time it is. Listen, are you mad, you're lean? Listen, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe. For those of you returnees, you ain't got the minerals. You ain't got the minerals, baby. Listen, we're going to be talking to you guys about Ready to Love. I'm talking about, yes, our best friends, London and Alexis. So if you guys have been following us, obviously, throughout the season, we've been talking about London and Alexis and kind of giving you guys the lowdown on the duel between these two gigantuan game players. I know many of you have also been commenting in the comment section, and I really appreciate that as well. It's good to have discussions as well. And many of you have also asked me, why do I ride out for Alexis? And for me, the reason why I ride out for Alexis is like, I don't hate, you know when you say that obviously, you know, hate the player, not the game. You know, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? And that's how I look at the situation. I'm not agreeing that her behavior is suitable. I'm not agreeing that her behavior is going to get her a husband or a partner in the long term. But in terms of just the game that we're playing at the moment, fam, she plays it well. And that's why I congratulate her. Because oftentimes we see men playing this game, and when women don't play the game, they take an L. Right, so you see Divine is taking L's. Tondi almost took an L. If Mario had his way, he would have played with Reva and Tondi for Kingdom Gun. You know what I mean? So there would have been L's all over. If Darren had somebody else there, he'd be playing with other girls. Well, he'd be taking L's, right? And the reason why is because, like I said, men often don't know what they want. Yeah, they don't even know what they need. They know what they want, but they don't know what they need. Yeah, and that's why Adam, the Bible says that Adam was naming all the animals, and not a suitable helper was found until God then put him to sleep. Until God obviously then put him to sleep, and then fashioned a woman out of him. So it is very difficult sometimes to get the equilibrium between both parties. It always tends to be one-sided in that affair. So yeah, just talking about obviously London and Alexis, I think for me, just watching them throughout the whole season, they've been battling back and forth. London has been using Divine as a prop. Alexis has been using Brent, Jimmy, Kerry. All of these guys have become pawns in her game, okay, in a duel between the two of them, and that's what they've been battling for. The last 3 episodes, you've seen them talking, London even got one up on Alexis by saying, you got a connection with Kerry. How are you telling me about my connection with Divine? And I think the thing, obviously, what I would agree with what the girls have been saying, I think what people have been saying in the comment section is that, Alexis's game goes beyond just trying to get one up on London. Her game actually goes on to her competitive side against the women as well. And I think women naturally are competitive against themselves anyway. Women are normally competitive against other women anyway. So when you add the masculine energy of trying to compete in the game called the game of life, relationship-wise, and you use masculine energy, I think you get what you see with Alexis, which is you get both sides of her being competitive with women normally anyway, and then also being competitive and trying to outdo London.
You want to be with, but at the same time, you could have been matching what you've been telling me behind the scenes.
I've never told you on the phone that you're number one.
You use other words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation?
Should we go through that?
Go through it. Let's air it out.
It's a waste of my time.
Because that's what it was. It wasn't the case. Look, I'm not saying that she didn't generally at the beginning want London. She definitely probably did. But it turned into a game when she realised this guy also is not serious. And so, in order to protect herself, keep herself safe, she decided to play the game. And both parties have been playing the game ever since. So let's go into the actual review and see what actually happened with London and Alexis. So the very first thing is obviously we see a recap of the last episode, and we see London come over. Now, before this point, actually, London had actually said he made up his mind. I made up my mind. He made up his mind to now go and collect Alexis when he.
You leaving, Mario?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm out too, bro. It's obvious. I got a connection with Alexis. And when you see somebody else conversing with her, it bothers you. Can I holler at you real quick?
He does. He meets Brent, he meets Alexis talking, and he decides to interrupt. And I mean, he wasn't that rude or anything like that, and neither was Brent either. So it was quite a civil removal of Brent in any case and any particular talk. But what was interesting was obviously the fact that the duel between himself and Alexis. You see, because I said this is a game of egos, London then starts to explain about how, you know, he's, you know, what he's thinking, what he's feeling, and the fact that he's come over to come and collect her. But Alexis uses this as an opportunity to show or make a power move in terms of who has got the power. It was an intention
That hadn't been coming over, so I'm trying to figure it out. I wouldn't be here talking to you if we didn't have no connection.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything that I've told you, I've meant, and I've stated that. And I'll state that in front of everybody.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying, and I'm just saying.
High five. I'm done with this conversation.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm done. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
move by her to make sure London knew, listen, I'm going to get one up on you. Yeah? I'm going to be the king or the queen of this castle indefinitely. And so we see that obviously she says, obviously, high five. That high five there was a condescending description, and I believe that she was her. Look, whenever you play this game, I think this is what people misunderstand. Whenever you play this game, there are going to be emotions attached. One of them, like I keep mentioning all the time, is pride, is insecurity, it is a fear of being embarrassed, yeah? So even though you're playing the game and you may have many different subjects, you will notice with men especially, whenever they got many different subjects of females, if another guy comes after one of the girls that he's been dealing with, he gets super protective and gets aggy and gets annoyed, and then he starts treating that girl almost like he's his wife or his girlfriend and trying to lay down rules for her about you can't see this guy or don't let this guy to get too close or something like that, do you know what I mean? To try and make sure that he sabotages anybody getting a hold of that girl. Why? Because then that will spoil his business that he's laying up in that corner. Right? And it's the exact same way with Alexis. She played the exact same way where she didn't want no one to spoil the business that she had collected with each individual man. I believe she gets off on the ego, the fact that people are chasing her, people are wanting her. But listen, she's just overtly saying what a lot of women say internally. I'm sorry. A lot of women say this internally. They want men to chase them. They want men to like them. They want men to need them. They want men to be attracted to them. But just because you don't say it overtly, you just may be passive-aggressive. Passive-aggressiveness means basically, you know what? You think it, you feel it, you want to do it, but you just keep your mouth shut. Yeah? So before I cuss Alex, I have to look at it and say, is this a normal behavior? Partly is. Some people think and feel and do this in their minds, but don't have the balls to do it in real life.
Where I want to focus my energy on someone who's showing me how they feel rather than just telling me over and over again. And at this point, it's Brent.
Moving on from there, I think it's obviously as well, when she said that to London, I've seen London's kind of face has kind of changed and his energy kind of shift a little bit. Obviously she was definitely hurt. I won't even say hurt. She was pissed off and annoyed, yeah, that she didn't get the public display of declaration and backing from London in regards to her. And that also caused it to be a nail in a coffin for her because she had power to make another choice because she had options, yeah? That makes it easier to duck and dive. When you don't have that option, you have to sink deep into your own morals and say to yourself, I cannot be desperate for nobody. I have to walk away. And a lot of people don't walk away because they are scared of being alone and they'd rather have a little bit of attention rather than have nothing at all. And that's understandable too. It's part of the human process. It's not good for man to be what? Alone. Say it with me. It's not good for man to be what? Alone. And I get it. And sudden, remember London also said obviously, you know, I've got no competition, da 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 da. Alexis said exactly the same thing. She got no competition, da 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 da. And yet these two people are threatened by two other people within their circles. Why? Because I told you, when you meet somebody who could potentially be competition, that chat that you was making was, talking nonsense, talking absolute water between your lips about you don't have competition. I said it. When people say those things, I look at them and I go, it's a very naive statement to make because you've not met anybody on your level, and when you do meet them on your level, you're going to be shaking and quaking because you already said, I have no competition. There should be competition. There should always be competition because that's what keeps you sharp. Do you know what I'm saying? You get rusty when you ain't got no competition. So when both of these characters said it, it's interesting that both of them were ruffled by Brent and Divine respectively. Interesting. So that was also a quite interesting kind of thing there between London and Alexis. And obviously Alexis was actually trying to make London jealous as well.
One question. So I decided to put on my snake skin mini skirt.
All right. Sexy mama.
I kind of wanted to make London jealous in the process.
She came in the room one time with a snake skin skirt on, which was quite interesting for me because it's like, originally the last episode she already said, and I think I said to my Brent one as well, that she didn't want to make London jealous. So what's changed? Again, the landscape of the game has changed. She wants to be able to win this battle and this duel between herself and London. And if she can make London feel a certain way, because she was very much aware from the last episode that London was a little bit moved by the fact that Brent was putting his touching and being touchy-feely with her in the last episode. So what does she do? She tries to dress to kill. Why? Because she wants to make London feel. Look, I told you this game that we're playing, yeah, is about making you feel and not me feel. It's about power and control. I want you to get to a certain position so that I can draw out my my energy from your behavior, yeah? And this is where people come into the thing. That's why I keep saying that this is a big boy game, and you know what? Like, it's not often that you need the person to. There's not always the game once requires you to I've slept with a person or done something mad with them. No, sometimes it's just simply I know I can have you when I want to. And that's what Alexis is aiming for. Unfortunately, as she's aiming for that, she's also got certain traits that she's showing which are not endearing. That's what I would say. It's a bit tight.
London is in his feelings. He is not happy that there's another man in my bed tonight, and it's not you.
Interesting, because somebody who's obviously over London, there's a lot of concentration on London. I think everyone she said obviously she knows that obviously London's going to be feeling a certain way. The fact that Brent stayed in her bed. Listen, Brent staying in her bed meant nothing, you know. Like, it's a power move. Brent now announced it in front of everybody. Again, she gets to use that against London. What was interesting was that when obviously that was said by Brent, that, you know what, he slept in Alexis' bed. It was interesting what London was doing, because he started actually tapping the table. And I started realizing, okay. And obviously then he says, obviously, you know what, that's it for me. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm not playing around with Alexis anymore. It's like, but is that all it took for you to no longer play the game? Or is it because you felt like you're really losing the game now? You don't have competition in it? And that's why I said to you, stop saying you don't have competition, because you always have competition. It's okay to be confident, but don't be cocky and arrogant. You understand? Nobody likes an arrogant, cocky person. So all I'm saying is that, you know, when I saw that, I saw him tapping the table and I was like, he's stressed, boy. He's stressed because he too also was trying to control what Alexis was doing. They were both trying to control each other. They were both trying to put each other in a certain position so the other person can have control. And they've actually cancelled each other out. That's the crazy thing. Alexis also said that the cabin was not great, was, in other words, 4-letter words. And she launched into a tirade about being disappointed about London's behaviour, almost like she was telling him off.
Alexis actually slept in the bed with Brent. That was extremely disturbing. I don't operate like that. That is absolutely a deal breaker.
Again, I felt this was a power move between her and London, to kind of almost tell him off and kind of, I felt like it was a power move, and I felt like she was trying to tell him off, trying to be condescending and trying to almost put her stamp upon him by letting him know how disappointed she was. You know, like when your parents tell you, they're disappointed instead of just beating you, and you feel even more trash because you're like, fam, I'd rather they just beat me. Yeah, that's what she basically just did there. She basically just literally launched into the fact of saying, I was disappointed in him, the fact that he didn't keep the same energy in person, and we, like I said, obviously, I reported on that last episode, and I said obviously there was, she did that previously already by saying to him, how can Brent come downstairs and already tell me that he likes me and tell me I look lovely, blah, blah, blah. Again, just highlighting certain things to London. And so she's been playing this game for a little while. She's been trying to get London into a certain position. She's been trying to get London to feel emotionally, trying to kind of stir him up into competition mode, to try and get him to feel. Because this game is about who is going to feel the most first. If I fall and I feel, like when you're playing that dangerous game with the opposite sex where you don't want to say I'm kind of feeling you, I'm kind of liking you, because you want to give them that kind of power. Yeah, you're scared, you're not sure what they're operating on. And then maybe you haven't been through that. I've been through that, and you don't want to give them that person that power. So you're refusing to say like, do you know what, I like you, or do you know what, I'm feeling you, because you want to give that person an ego boost that goes beyond the freaking skies. Do you know what I mean? And I feel that's what Alexis was doing with London. She didn't want to give London any kind of hint of positivity. And it was funny because Divine was laughing the whole time. Divine was in her sides the whole time that, you know, Alexis was kind of finishing London. And in the end, because of that, that pushed London also towards Divine. So, yeah, I mean, that was her fault too. That was her fault. I'm going to admit to it. That was her fault. Alexis had London in her hand, but didn't play the cards right. She wanted to finish him off. I wanted to actually slice and dice his neck and hang him from a tree. And unfortunately, that can't run. And unfortunately, that cost her the open play that she had with London. Do you get me? I think she went with Brent because he's a more safer option, and she can tell that he really likes her, and that's the main thing. She's always saying, I want to feel it. I want to know that you like me. I want to I want to see action. Blah blah blah. She wants to feel like someone really craves her before, I guess, she lets her walls down. Alexis and London get into a little duel where they talk about the fact that, you know, that she was going to pull up receipts. And I remember I told you about this. She keeps talking about pulling up receipts, and she hasn't got no receipts, my dog. Like, if you keep saying you got receipts, show us receipts. Otherwise, shut up. Don't talk. Shut it. You understand? Shut your mouth. Don't open your mouth and talk about receipts when you ain't got receipts. Again, this is another move to try and make people feel like she's actually got something, to hold on to, just in case you ever tried it. I can give you the books. But you notice that everybody else in the room as well also start to turn against her. And because, you see, when you play the game, I keep saying this, when you play the game, you play to lose, man. Because you're going to play to obviously get what you want to get out of it. But eventually what happens is you end up betraying yourself. And when you betray yourself, when you cross yourself several times over, you don't know who to trust. You can't trust yourself, you can't trust other people. Like, who do you trust? Who do you love? You can't love yourself, you can't love other people. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So the fact is, the way she played the game at first wasn't an issue, but the way she developed the game over time, she became unlikable. Like, when you're attacking Divine, it doesn't make sense. And then you're making up this, and we need to find out this out if it's 100% true. This freeway call that supposedly happened, we need to find out in the next episode, did it or did it not happen? Now, I personally think that she was lying, but I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, freaking hell, then London is in deep trouble. Do you get me? Deep trouble.
And London was a sure thing.
Absolutely.
What is it that made you make the decision that you were not a sure thing?
It was the moment at the bonfire.
Obviously said, you know, she wasn't sure until the bonfire about London. I'm thinking to myself, you know, but this guy's been playing for time. How did you not know from early? Like, why did you wait to the fire before you found out? You know he had a great connection with Divine. Like, I know that obviously he may have been telling lies, he may have been trying to, you know, embellish. We love that word now, embellish. He may have been saying certain things to kind of get Alexis into a certain position. But what was it, that fire that caught you, that made you say, look, I'm quitting him completely? Because all he said was like, yeah, I do have a great connection with Divine, essential, or whatever. And that was really it. So what part of that really got you? And I think the real thing that got her is the fact that, in a sense, he ended up choosing Divine over her, in front of her. And remember, her ego and her pride doesn't want even a woman to get one over her. Like, everybody's got to lose. Do you understand? So there's no way you can body me. I will body you first. I will bury you first. Do you get me? And I think that's where the pain came from when he mentioned about the connection with Divine in the fireplace thing. Because it didn't really make sense how she goes from 0 to 180. Do you know what I'm saying? You already know that he was like this. You already know that he had a connection. So why was all of a sudden this change in your behavior?
He did, because I felt like I was going to set it off, literally.
Me doing what I did, going after her multiple times, and Divine, I'm surprised she's still answering my phone call right now.
When are you about this live, about setting it off? That same energy you use for also Divine as well. You know, you're trying to say that you come at her like you smoke her, and it's like, bro, where is this coming from? Like, Alexis, where's this coming from? Now I know you had the childhood was not easy, but where is this energy coming from? And that's the thing I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out where this energy is coming from. Is that really what you're gonna do? Like, honestly, is that what you're really gonna do? And I think obviously with that, you know, I see again, it's just kind of covering face with that particular attitude as well. Interesting enough, obviously London said obviously now he's turning his, you know, he's now, Alexis has made him basically turn his back on her, and now he's going to choose Divine. Now I already said this, Divine was the one that that London needed from the jump. I said this, and London needs, yeah, he needs to have Divine, because she's the only one that's actually going to be a long-term partner for him. The way she is, the way her energy is, the way she's comfortable around him, that's the only one. Alexis was always going to feed into your ego, and this is the thing a lot of us need to understand, that we have an ego and we have our logic. You know, the logic will tell you, listen, choose this partner, it's a right, sensible partner, but the ego will tell you, listen, go and chase the mouse. You are a cat, go and chase the mouse. And it's that ego we have to be very careful of, because it can send you down a rabbit hole that you don't need to be in. This should have been a simple choice between Divine and Alexis. And actually, she should have been Divine the whole time, because she's closer to your age, she's more mature, she understands certain things that you've gone through in life, very calm, well-mannered. But then you want to go for the hothead, you want to go for the one that is spicy and dice, isn't it? That's the reason why you chose you know, Alexis. It gives you a bit of euphemism as well. Her bubbly personality is inviting, etc., etc. But truth of the matter is that Alexis was for your ego, you know, and that's why you have to be very careful. Choosing a partner on ego can get you killed.
And matching what you've been telling me behind the scenes.
I've never told you on the phone that you're number one.
You use other words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
Should we go through that?
The little, I guess, the talk between Alexis and London, because obviously Alexis obviously blew it up, and, you know, made a point about the fact that, you know, he had made her number one and said so many things and said things in roundabout words that were words of affirmation. The fact that, you know, he had said certain things that makes her be number one. And I mean, I can believe that he said some things, evidently, because he's playing, he's straddling the field. He wants to, I guess, run his course, each of the people, kind of see where he's at, which is what he said in the last few episodes as well. All of that, she's very conscious of what London is doing. Have you noticed that it's so London conscious? And it's because it's about taking over the jungle. She wants to take over the jungle. She wants to conquer King Kong. She wants to make sure she's at the top of the Empire State Building. She wants to make sure she's top de la creme. And that's what's causing the issue, because then now she should be able to, you know, I don't want to say submit, yield a little bit and form a relationship with London. But instead, because of her ego and his ego, they're clashing and they're both trying to destroy each other. And it's not going to work that way. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not going to work that way.
It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, she goes some bull.
Right now, Alexis is going off on London like some type of little third grade child, and I'm looking like, that's bullshit. I mean, she had 3 guys that she had to choose from. She eliminated Carrie, now you got London and Brent you want to play with.
Mario made a point about the fact that, you know what, Mario made a point about the fact that, that, you know what, he's disappointed, and not even disappointed, he said something about Alexis and the fact that she had obviously 3 guys in the go, and it's like, bro, everybody had options. Everybody. Including yourself, Mario. So how are you talking about her options? Guys, let's keep it consistent. It's going to 2020, but let's keep it consistent. If we're going to say something about one party, let's keep it consistent regardless of the race, the sex, the gender, whatever that is. Keep it consistent. Do you understand? And when you do, nobody can check you. Because obviously Mario's saying about her having the 3 connections. Bruv, you've got 2. You had Riva and Tondi. And you were playing around with Riva. And we're going to talk about Riva and Mario very soon. Don't worry about that. So yeah, guys, I want to leave you on that note and just say, look, au revoir. I hope you like the reviews, and we've got more coming for you. Don't you worry. Appreciate you.